My name is Trey and welcome back to Reload Reacts. Today we are going through r/Amithedevil, where OP reveals that he is the world's worst husband. This first post is by the Agony Ant. Am I the asshole for stealing the last puzzle piece? Sometimes when someone is working on a puzzle, I'll grab a few pieces so I can be the one to finish it. I've always seen it as relatively harmless. This last week when my fiance and I were visiting her parents for Thanksgiving, and she watched me take a few pieces from a puzzle her mum was working on and put them in my pocket. She immediately asked what I was doing, and when I told her my plan was to finish the puzzle, she got very mad and demanded I never do something like that again. Was this justified? I've always seen this as more of a joke. Yeah, I don't know, I don't think that level of response is warranted, but I could see them being a little mad. This next post is by Syndicate Thought. He didn't want this to be a big deal. The title reads, Update, I want to break up with my fiance and pursue a relationship with her sister after she kissed me at Thanksgiving last night. Am I the jerk? Hey, so only posting this update because a lot of people were asking for an update. This will be my final update. So yeah, sadly, I don't have a great update. I broke up with my fiance yesterday, and yeah, she was unexpectedly shocked and sort of panicking, etc. I feel horrible seeing her cry like that and seeing her reaction, and she kept asking me why, and I told her that I just don't think we're meant to be together, and that she deserves someone far better than me. She was kind of wailing and stuff, and it broke my heart. So obviously, both our families are shocked. Especially because we just had Thanksgiving, and they asked a lot of questions about the wedding and our future plans and even baby names, etc. So yeah, everyone's pretty shocked. I didn't really want it to become this big a drama, but sadly it has become a huge drama and everyone is speculating what happened. I met my fiance's sister last night for dinner and we both realized the gravity of the situation. We spoke at length and I told her we should probably take space and take it slow, maybe wait a few months, and she said she was willing to wait however long. She recommended that we can move to a different state. We both work remote, so that works in our favor, and we can choose any state we like. I asked her many times if she was sure, and if she had any regrets after seeing her sister's reaction, and she said she loves her sister and that the situation obviously sucks, but that love is love and the love we have and the deep connection we have is very rare, and that now we had it, she would never let it go ever until she dies. I got those heart flutter feelings again, and this time I was sober, we didn't even kiss, it was just her words. So that's probably my final update. Thank you for all your advice. He didn't want this to be a big deal? How could that not be a big deal? Journey in Pressure says, I didn't think people would react like this after breaking up with my partner of 11 years. For the sister, because nobody would know. LMAO. I think this is fake, but at the same time, people do this more often than not. And also apparently OP posted a year prior about the same relationship, so it's unlikely to be fake. Unless it's a really long con. This next post is by Unique Assumption. Am I the asshole for ruining Christmas for my kids growing up? This happened last year, but it was recently brought up again. My son is still kind of annoyed about it, so my daughter suggested I post here. I, 53M, have never enjoyed Christmas. I never enjoyed the decorating or the shopping or any of that. My wife has always loved it. When we had kids, who I will call Mark 25M and Emily 23F, I told my wife I didn't want to be involved in anything Christmas related or wanted anything overly done in the house. I admit that sometimes I would complain the house was overly decorated and took things down, or wouldn't let them do certain things. My wife and I had more than one fight about it. My wife passed on 3 years ago now. Last year, I was with Mark and his now wife, who I'll call Amy. Amy really decked the whole house out, and I made a comment that I thought it looked funny that it looked like Christmas exploded in their house. Amy laughed and said she loved Christmas and enjoyed decorating for it. I told her that I thought it was a waste of time, honestly, and that the money spent on decorations could be spent on much better things. I asked Mark how he felt about that, considering we always put our money towards other things and didn't do things like that. I expected him to laugh, but he didn't. Instead, he told me he would have loved to do things like this growing up, but I never let them, and even though my wife tried to do fun Christmas-related things with them, I almost always found a way to ruin it for them. He said I got it. I hated Christmas. That was my right, but it was awful that I tried to make them hate Christmas too. I said I never tried to make them hate Christmas, but he argued that I was a Scrooge and any time they did anything remotely fun or festive, I found a way to ruin it. My wife baked tons of cookies and treats. I didn't let them have any. I just took them all to work. My wife wanted to take them ice skating. I made sure to find a reason they couldn't go. My wife wanted to take them to the Christmas parade our town had every year. I made sure to make plans on that day so they couldn't go. He said that he and Emily loved Christmas and really enjoyed now being able to do everything they wanted to do as kids, but I wouldn't let them. I felt really attacked at that point and said that if he was so miserable, why didn't he ever say anything? He pointed out that he had, repeatedly, and that I just didn't care. I only cared about my view and that I wasn't willing to allow them to celebrate because I didn't want to and that I was selfish. I was pretty upset and told him I wouldn't talk to him until I got an apology for how rudely he spoke to me. He won't apologize, and our relationship has suffered because of it. I really don't think I did anything terrible here, but my daughter has agreed that I did make it hard to enjoy the holidays because of my attitude and suggested I post here. Am I the asshole for not wanting to celebrate Christmas? Am I the asshole for being the real life Grinch? I don't know, buddy. I don't know. Maybe a little. That's actually crazy. He was scheming for months, every year. This next post is by Evil Finch. Let me take my fake service dog in. Got denied my service dog at an ER. Their reason was people in the ER were more likely to have allergies. Nothing to do with temperament or anything, and I'd been to this ER before where they'd let me have him. There's just different staff today. I looked online and they're not allowed to do that, at least for allergies like they said, and it completely threw me off guard. What do I do? Not to mention that it was difficult to access where they had him. The doors were locked and I couldn't get to him then. I couldn't back out, basically blocking the ambulance entrance both ways, and I started having a medical emergency without him. He's a cardiac alert dog, and he walked all the way through the building to get to the back, so the allergy thing makes no sense logistically, and he was on file and had no issues the last time. This feels illegal. Edit. Literally, what the fuck is up with you guys? I look for support and get accused and speculated on everything. Literally, what the fuck? He behaves well in there. He's well trained. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Stella Blue said, the edit did kind of make me chuckle. It's a cardiac trained service dog. Well, alright, it's my partner's dog, but I totally trained it. Come on, man. This next post is by a deleted user. Am I the asshole for telling my son that he is the reason me and his mother are getting divorced? Okay, so right off the bat, I'm gonna say yes. But let's see where we end up at the end of the story. I know upon reading the title alone, many of you will just call me an asshole, and you might be right, but I want to explain myself first. My wife and I have been together when we first met in high school. We were able to maintain a long-distance relationship throughout college and stayed true to each other. I truly thought we were inseparable. She gave birth to a boy 12 years ago, and that's when things changed drastically. My son, unfortunately, has behavioral problems, and it's been very difficult raising him. He throws temper tantrums, gets in trouble in school frequently, and refuses to listen to my wife and I. As a result, my wife and I started having disagreements about how we should handle him, i.e., whether to punish more let him get his anger out, etc. This created a wedge between us that kept getting wider. We both resorted to drinking more and wanting to be away from each other as much as possible to get some relief. We started having more arguments, and finally, eventually, it became so obvious that our marriage was deteriorating that family members started questioning it. So the topic of divorce came up and we both decided to go through with it. When I first told my son about it, he cried endlessly, then started throwing fits about how unfair it was. I completely understand that a divorce is hard on any child, but the intensity of his fits kept growing. Since my wife and I are separated, not yet divorced, and because she can't tolerate our son that much, we agreed that he gets to spend most of the week with me, unfortunately. So I see him a lot and have to put up with his yelling far more than she does. Last Friday, he started asking if my wife and I forgave each other, and I told him that the divorce is happening like it or not. He starts crying and I got mad and told him, "Buddy, wanna know why we are getting divorced? Because of you. We were happy before you were born, but you always act bad and get in trouble. So stop arguing with me. When you caused it, you have nothing but yourself to blame." This devastated him, and I did apologize, but I told him there was some truth to what I said. However, since then, he's been much more quiet and behaved. Even my wife, who was with him over the weekend, said he was much better. So yes, I think I am the asshole for telling him he was the reason we are getting divorced, but in some ways, I don't think I am, because maybe it was just something he needed to hear? No, you are the asshole. I was right, my gut was right. Definitely the asshole. Shitty parenting, at its finest right there. You guys couldn't have gotten help for your child? Just had to let him rot? Okay. This was r/Am-I-the-Devil. If you liked this video, make sure to go check out some other videos on the channel. And also make sure to hit that subscribe button because I post new Reddit content every single day.